Dodging and burning is so critical to my workflow that I thought I'd record a separate little video talking just about dodging and burning. And to demonstrate it, we're going to use the boxing image we used in the last video workup. And this is the finished image, so it's already been dodged and burned, but it won't matter, we can add a bit more dodging and burning to it. And just to recap, what dodging and burning is, if I pick up a brush tool, just so I've got something sensible to show you, a little round circle. What dodging and burning does is about darkening the dark areas in an image and lightening the light areas. So in this particular one, I darken there, lighten there. And what you're doing is you're increasing contrast, micro contrast in that small area. And an increase in contrast means an increase in impact. So it's particularly useful in images like this, where you're trying to, mono images, where you're trying to emphasize muscle tone. And so how do I do it? Well, there's a number of ways to dodge and burn, but I've always dodged and burned on a 50% grey layer. And the way I do that is just to create a separate layer, fill it with 50% grey, and change the blending mode to soft light. Now, because I do it on a regular basis, I've created a Photoshop action and assigned it to my F12 key. So if we look up here now, of course this is the finished image. If we put a dodge and burn layer in above there, all I'm going to do now is hit F12. And F12, in it comes a dodge and burn layer. And by hitting F12, this is the action that it's performed. And we recorded a separate little tutorial on recording Photoshop actions and making them work, assigning them to a function key. So if we look down here, what that's done is it's run this little action, dodge and burn on 50% grey. It's made a layer, called it DMB, dodge and burn, changed the blending mode to soft light, filled it with 50% grey, and then assigned it a yellow colour, just so that I know all my dodge and burn layers are yellow. Okay, so that's that little action, and as I say, there's a separate little video on how you can record your own actions. So having created the layer, I'm now going to work on that layer with the dodge and burn tool. And the dodge and burn tool in your Photoshop, this is the standard Photoshop toolbar, it's this little hand symbol. And the hand symbol is the burn tool, and if I press Alt, it would turn it to the dodge tool, which is the opposite of burn. So burn is to darken, dodge is to lighten. So I have it set, it comes in by default as burn, which is darken. And the key thing here is to not be too over bold, all right? So the tool is up here, look, and it should always be set to this range midtones because we're actually only ever working on a 50% grey layer, so we're only going to work on the midtones. So it always wants to be set to midtones. And the key is here, don't have this very high at all. I sometimes have it as low as 7 or 8%. Average it would be about 13. And if I show you what I mean, it's set to burn at the moment, so it's going to darken. If I set it right up here, let's say to 87%, go over here, and if we just use this light area, hopefully, can you see how dark it's making it? And you might say, well, I can't really see a lot of difference. But if I switch the layer off, you'll see it's a massive difference on his arm. So let's go back in the history channel, because that's obviously no good at all. And we'll go back to here, where we set it up. Okay, so the key is to have it at a low setting. And as I say, my sort of go-to would be about 11%, something like that. And then it's just really simple with the Wacom tablet. It literally is colour by numbers, because it's set to default to burn. So let's emphasize this bit. So I'm going to go a stroke over there to make it darker, and then I'm going to press the Alt key, which changes it to the dodge tool, and I'm going to go over the light bit and make it lighter. Let my finger off the Alt key, and we're back to the burn tool, burn, onto the Alt key, onto the dodge tool. We'll do another bit. Well, let's have a look, see if you can see a difference if I switch that on and off. And I don't know whether the resolution is going to be good enough, but I can certainly see a difference here. And I'll do it again, we'll just really emphasize it. And so burn tool, which is the default here, dodge tool by pressing Alt here, and here. Now switch it on and off. And now I think you can begin to really see the difference. I've made the darker area darker and the lighter area lighter. And we can just carry on like that. And the beauty of the Wacom tablet and being able to press the Alt key is it's so intuitive. So I don't have to look up, I don't have to think about it, I don't have to do anything. I know here I want it darker, and here, I press the Alt key, I want it lighter. And I don't look up, I just know Alt key is dodge, there, dodge, 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 dodge. Let my finger off, burn key. Put my finger on, the Alt key, dodge, dodge, dodge. Let my finger off, burn, burn, burn. And so we go. Okay, and if I switch, now look in this area here, and I think you can definitely see what I've done there. So there's really very little else to say, except that I would say the majority of impact from my mono images comes from this technique, and I can probably spend up to an hour dodging and burning two figures like this. I don't just use it on the figures, I'll use it in, as you saw in the last tutorial, in bits of the crowd and so on. And I probably could spend an hour, if not more, dodging and burning. And I might do it at separate times as well. So let's get rid of this and let's just have a look how many times I have done it in this particular example by looking in the layer stack. And we'll just go down the layer stack. And nothing yet. Nothing yet, nothing yet. Looks like it's going to be a bad example to show you. Oh, there we go. There's the. I know it's dodge and burn because it's yellow. So if we switch that one off in the crowd line, if you look up here, there's dodging and burning there. Then look at the balcony, dodging and burning in the balcony, and you can look over here and you'll see it come in. And if we carry on, oh yeah, it's coming in now. Lots of dodging and burning. Look, and never be frightened to make lots of layers, because if you screw it up and you think, oh, I've gone too far, then of course if you've gone too far you could turn down the opacity of the layer, but you can get rid of the layer, or don't look how many I've got actually. So it has turned out to be a very good example to show you all this dodging and burning look on these separate layers, some of which I've labelled up, and some look I've made sure that the dodging and burning isn't going to go onto the body of the boxes by putting a mask on to protect the boxes. So it's working on the white but not on the black. So actually, oh look, lots more here. It doesn't surprise me because on a mono image, dodging and burning is the major way that I create impact. So if we just go down it, just look for the yellow layers are all the dodge and burn layers, and you'll just begin to see just how many there are. And that gives you an idea of how much dodging and burning I do, and therefore how long it takes me. So I sincerely recommend dodging and burning to you in all your images, colour or mono, but particularly mono. It increases contrast in the areas that you want the viewer to look, and an increase in contrast means an increase in impact.